Hey there, YouTubers. All right, so as you all probably know, AMD has released some of its 5000 series chips, and of course, not much stock out there. Just like you saw with NVIDIA, where basically they were wiped out in hours. We, weren't able to get one on this channel. Now, I have no doubt that the AMD 5000 series is going to be better than Intel's 10th gen, at least those CPUs that are out, right? So the 5600X, the 5800X, the 5900X, they will be better than their comparative Intel chips. Now, what does Intel or what does AMD have underneath the 5600X? There's nothing really in that grouping that competes, right? So, and if the chips aren't there, hey, they got nothing to compete with Intel on, as far as I'm concerned. But, I am an Intel guy. Um, I have to believe that the 11th gen Intel chips will be superior to what AMD has to offer. I mean, otherwise, there's no point in Intel putting out 11th gen chips. They'll just keep pushing it back. If you listen to these ass clowns on these bigger channels, it's like they're also excited about AMD. Um, where they've made all their money for the years off of Intel, and now they're so excited about AMD, right? So Intel's not just going to roll over and die. They might take a hurting on their sales here for the Christmas holidays, and that assumes, honestly, if AMD can even get enough chips out there to matter. Um, I have money to spend here on my channels to buy some of these chips, and if I can't get them, hey, guess where I'm going to spend my money? Back over at Intel. So, what should we expect with 11th Gen? Well, if they have integrated graphics, and it's way better than the current Intel integrated graphics, right? UHD 630 is a joke. If each one of these CPUs has integrated graphics and it's at least somewhat playable, like we can get to 1080p low on Fortnite, that would be a huge improvement, right? That would basically, in my opinion, uh, kind of offset some of what AMD has. If this was a draw in the CPUs, just the mere fact that you have integrated graphics would make a huge difference. And if it's useful, right? It's got to be useful. UHD 630 is not really useful except for setting up a computer and having less components in it to make it easier to troubleshoot. Now, you know this stuff here, I don't I don't know that most people care about what they've got there. Uh, Intel doesn't tell you a whole lot about what they've got going on, and if they don't get their manufacturing processes down, they're going to be left in the dust. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating, folks, as an Intel guy to see the king kind of um, get a beat down here like they are. Now, the funny thing is, on some of these benchmarks, let's just take a look at this one a second if I can find it. So, who's number one on here? It's still the i9 10900K and the 9th Gen 9900KS. Um, it looks like some more user benchmarks have come in. And the reality may be that this CPU is not as good as these big channels are making it out to be. Now, I have seen some ridiculously high scores out of this thing. Um, if we can find one, let's look at the best bench. So, I mean, that's not even anything spectacular. This workstation score is pretty good, but I've had a higher workstation score with a Intel chip. Now 107, folks, that is ridiculously high, right? And this guy has a I will say this is a poorly performing RTX 2070 Super. He should be at the 117, 120 range. Brent Rocket, so he's got PCIe 4.0 most likely. What's his motherboard? Yeah. And this guy's got a setup, man. Now, he should have went with the EVO 980. I've got one of those. And I've got a 550 that will accept PCI 4.0 and 4th gen uh, M.2. So this is not all that impressive, 300%. I can get this out of my 960 Pro, 970, and I'm talking Samsung EVO 970 Plus. I can't get that write score though, but I can beat him in the read score. So that's surprisingly bad. This must be a SATA drive. Not very impressive. And then even this old 960, regular old 960, is not that far behind in the read score. Which for gaming, this isn't that great, right? So what's his RAM? He's got 32 gigs of 3200 megahertz. Pretty weak. This guy's this guy's got a pretty high score though. Latency is high. So user benchmark's kind of a joke at times. I don't get the scoring out. Like they should subtract because latency's higher than a better set of RAM. Now, yeah, it's good he's got 32 gigs, but I don't get that other aspect of this. So, folks, to summarize, you can't get any of these AMD chips. Who knows when you can get them? But you can't get 11th gen Intel until who knows when. It's sad that they won't be available for Christmas. And it's sad, honestly, that all this stuff is not available now because I would, well, for me, I would be able to buy some of it, right? Because if you put all this stuff on the market at the same time, I don't believe that everybody's going to wipe out the supplies. Maybe there is enough demand, right? So maybe I would keep getting shut out. But if all this stuff came out at the same time, right around, November, basically, right here, first week of November, second week of November, I'm in a position to get some of the stuff and I can't get it. But, that's the way it goes, right? So, hey, thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.